From stay the course.
Yeah, I think the legislature was the hardest.
That means
part.
you're recording for me.
And that's
Zooming,
nice.
thank you. I will pause now. Thanks so much.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Can always count on a hurry. This is the Fallbrook Regional Health District Board of Directors meeting on Wednesday, September 10th, 2025, beginning at 6 p.m. May I have a roll call?
Director Soundler,
Here.
Director DeVito, Director Jeffries,
Here.
Director Canseco,
Here.
Director Acosta.
Here.
Thank you. We have quorum.
Thank you. Director Solomon, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Well. All set. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second? Second, okay, thank you so much. Any comments? Roll call, please.
Remember, we're going to,
Like I
because we're not
said.
online.
All in favor? Aye.
Oh,
Opposed? Very good.
Yay.
Yay. Do we have any public comments?
Oh, okay. I'm Sandy Mayo. I'm also the president of the Fallbrook Newcomers right now. And one of the things that I wanted to say is thank you so much to your team for allowing us to have access to the classroom. One of the classrooms, we play mahjong and have some other things going on, and we really appreciate the opportunity to use your space. And it's been really amazing, and we appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Well, we appreciate you appreciating us. And Newcomers is such a great organization for our community. So thank you for being a part of that.
Well, thank you.
And just a clarification, it's not our building. It's the community's.
It's the
building.
community building. Okay. You're part. It is, but it's still amazing to be able to use that space, and we wouldn't have that option now.
Yeah.
Right. Friendly correction.
There we go. Thank you.
Yes.
Accept
We're
it,
trying-
note it.
Like, yes, language is important. We're learning that, aren't we?
Words.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I'm glad you're using it. Okay, we have a really cool item D, which is a intro to the Community Health and Wellness Center after so many months and inspired visions and follow through. So I will turn it over to Rachel to begin the presentation, or directly to Teresa.
I would say let's turn it over to our Chief Programs Officer and her team at the Wellness Center.
Very good.
Well, thanks. This is our opportunity to share with you what it takes and what we put together for welcoming community groups like Newcomers and Encore, as well as all of our wellness partners and district programming to the center. So you get to see a little bit of the behind the scenes. I know Rachel has talked about this year being a lot about having our policies and our guidelines and our procedures, and we have developed that manual. And so we have that available for the center. And so this is just a little bit of what it takes. So if you go to the next slide. So when I looked at it all, it's giant. So when
There we go.
looked at this past fiscal year, what we've done. So when we talk about welcoming groups, we're talking about having a little over 1,000 different events. So that could be anything from newcomers coming and hosting their card games to a partner activity to our diabetes prevention program. But we are envisioning, setting up, scheduling, all the things that go behind each one of those events. And a lot of the presentation today is going to be from Patty, because that's a lot of the role that she plays at our center, welcoming, making people feel welcome, that they have what they need, communicating back to me and Bianca whenever there's, any kind of snafus. Maybe it's us forgetting to tell her something, and, working that through. So then Bianca really works with communications with a lot of these organizations. So when I looked at this past year, fiscal year, the amount of communication, it was around 90 different contacts. And that's because sometimes in one organization, I'll use newcomers again and Encore, there might be multiple card games that are by multiple chairs of the organization. So it's one organization, but you might have 6 people you're communicating with to schedule their events. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes. And so I just wanted to give that little background to it. And then from there, I'll kind of let Patty
So basically, we have the staff greet the visitors. We help them navigate through all where they have to be and stuff, even though, we put signs. But sometimes, people miss the signs, so I'm sure that I kind of keep an eye when we have things going, making sure everybody's going where they need to be. Of course, I just did the signage. Welcome guide provided to the new users, which I'm gonna give out. So this welcome guide shows everybody what is expected of them when they use our wellness center. How we want them to, kind of when you have somebody, if I tell my kids, you're gonna go somewhere and you're gonna stay somewhere, make sure that you leave the place better than what you found it, please, or the same. That's what we expect from our visitors also.
Next slide, thank you.
And then, operational support. Of course, we always have we have to sometimes help set up for events, workshops, making sure that we have everything that people need, furniture, supplies, making sure it's clean and, there's no hazards for people, to be tripping on and stuff. And that to me, that I take pride in customer service. And I want to make sure that when somebody's going to use our center, it's clean, it's safe for them to use. And I always tell them, if you have any questions, please come to me. I'll help you with anything. And Leslie loves me because of that. And also, checking out whatever they need, like remote controls, HDMI, anything that they need to do their workshops or meetings. But I think that's,
So just to add to that, so kind of like our policy is when you come in, you get a blank slate and you set up the room yourself.
Right.
But all of our events, Patty's setting up for, and then we have some groups where there's some people that, we feel like could use a little support. Well, want our 80-year-olds in the community setting up the tables for their events and things like that. So Patty's really good about monitoring that and stepping in, where needed and cleaning up. After
Yes.
groups, we don't always have groups that are the neatest, and then we have a warning, and then you can't have any food anymore, or you can't,
And then Patty's
so-
not happy.
It's only happened probably once, but we stay on top of that.
Yes, we definitely do, because I want the place to be nice and look nice. And we also communication and tracking, internal marketing of events, flyers, anything, to promote our workshops so everybody knows what's going on in our wellness center. Tracking how many people use our center, make sure that everybody's signing in. That way, you know who's using it, how many people are coming to our center. And let me tell you, I've been there 3 years now, and wow, has it grown. And I'm just amazed on how much people. I even had a lady come in today just to tell us how much she appreciates everything that we do for our community. And that makes me feel good. So. And surveys and feedback, obviously, that is amazing. And everybody's surveys and feedback is always so nice to hear positive things.
Mhm. So in between setting up the rooms and stuff, that's what Patty's doing. She's making sure all of those new emails get added in, all these surveys get reported, so we
Yes.
have that information. And then you see a little picture of a calendar. And so that's how Bianca and I communicate to Patty how to set up a room. So in there, it has what that room, what that person needs, how much time they need. So we're able to, handle the volume of, what we're doing.
And I'm just making sure that everything goes nice and smooth.
Mhm.
And so far, so good. Can't
Yes.
complain.
Mhm.
They miss me when I'm gone.
Reputation counts.
Yes.
Thank you
definitely.
for taking such care.
Oh, no problem. I take pride in, like I said, in customer service.
Well, I get to do the fun stuff as far as communicating and maintaining communications with all of our community organizations and individuals who are interested in utilizing our community health and wellness center. On the basis for events that are happening, that are on the calendar and that are scheduled, we do have a use agreement. So it's really important, it does have some of the legal stuff as far as, release of liability. On top of that, it allows me to know exactly who it is that I need to communicate with in the event that there are any questions that are coming up or any email correspondence that needs to happen. And it also is the form that allows me to know what the capacity is. Based on the capacity of an event and based off of the needs of the event, we'll determine where it is that their room is. So some organizations, they need to use our smart TVs because maybe they're doing a Zoom. Some have a larger capacity that need more floor space, carpet versus tile. So this is the way that I kind of get in writing, identifying what specific room is most effective for that particular event. In addition to that, we have a lot of inquiries as far as can I host my event here? There is a priority that we utilize at the Wellness Center. Obviously, our programs do get priority because they are definitely on the health and wellness track. And then we also have nonprofit organizations, that would like to use our facility. And then sometimes we'll have individuals. I have actually one of the very first things that I created upon my employment was the questionnaire to kind of field who, if there's new events or an individual, I want to host this event, just to kind of see, is this best for they to sponsor this event independently, or is this something that falls within our, bandwidth? And then also I get to take that questionnaire or that, that application and sit down with Teresa and be like, hey, this one's on the fence a little bit. I don't know. It does have to do with health and wellness. But we get to, in this form, we'll ask them for, can you send us your website? Do you have references? Where have you done this event before? What capacity are you looking at? How many people are going to come? Are you charging for this event? So we ask all these various questions to identify which events are most appropriate, to host. Yeah, and so far, it's there have been some that we have had to turn away, or that I actually direct to other organizations where it may be more appropriate to host there, because they work with that specific demographic. But overall, I find that it's a good way for us to field, the types of events that we're hosting the center.
So, and, part of what Bianca does too is looking at their marketing, making sure they're following our guidelines and checking those boxes with their flyers and information. So, and then of course from there it goes, to Jasmine, gets on our website, and then it becomes, public. So it's kind of like the behind the scenes of, things that happen. But these ladies work really hard. There's a lot that goes into probably a little bit more than you'd expect to having these events and doing each of these steps correctly and right, so that things are pulled off seamlessly during the day and that we don't have a lot of oh no's, during the day, or, there hasn't really, been a time where someone's come and looked for space and we're like, what's going on? It's been very organized. And so I'm really proud of the work that they're doing and what we've all, developed to get this, off the ground and running and ready to do more. So this is about getting that solid footwork and framework so that as the vision grows and we bring on more programming, we're able to handle that.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Board members' comments or questions?
Well, I can personally tell you that I've attended many of the programs. And everything that Patty has said is true, and everything Bianca has said is true. And I think even Teresa.
Maybe.
But you all be really proud. I am really proud when I'm there. And, the classmates or whatever, you can tell that they value the programs that you all have developed.
Thank you. Yeah. Any other questions from my colleagues at the table?
Bravo.
it sounds like you just laid really good, baseline, work to be prepared to meet that goal of over 1,000. That's really, it's a good goal, and it seems like you're on track to do a really good job of meeting it.
And picking up on that, the 1,000 is what's already happened.
Yeah, that was from last fiscal year.
Right.
Mhm,
So we're on the next level
mhm,
as we go.
mhm.
So, fantastic. I'm picturing a small byline underneath Community Health and Wellness Center and Conference Center. Because what you've described is a very, well executed, conference center protocol mindset that leads to what Howard just, it's like a little enterprise center, even though it's not generating money, it's generating reputation.
Mhm.
And reputational capital is what gets us through onto the other side of things as we grow. So thank you so much and for coming tonight to help us know the intricacies of this.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
If I hadn't come, it'd only been 900.
That's right.
That's right. That's great, that's great. Not that we don't want you to stay, but I don't know whether we would like to give you the option of ending your day a little early. Okay, shall we say aloha to you?
Yep.
Peace out.
I gotta go make dinner for my boys.
Okay.
Not off the hook.
Okay, thank you so much again.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, Patty.
Patty is a taskmaster over there, but
Yes.
with the kindest way. It's very much a stern mama vibe.
I am.
And
I
it,
can say that is
Mhm.
beautifully true because I had to interrupt her because I did a bad planning job on a talk that I was gonna give, and she just like swooped in, got me my stuff, said, "Go girl," like that with her head, and didn't get irritated as she could have, and I really appreciated it.
I'm used to it.
Okay. All
Thank
right.
you, everybody.
You're welcome.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Patty. Thanks, Bianca. Appreciate it.
Good night, gals.
Moving on to item E, consent items. Are there any consent items that you would like moved off of the consent calendar? Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve the consent?
So moved.
Second, thanks, Steve. Second. Roll call. Oh, my old habits. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Get it soon, Sally, I'll get it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to discussion items. Some very interesting items this evening. Discussion item F1, consideration of First Amendment to purchase agreement between the Fallbrook Regional Health District and Graydon Skio MD. And I believe, Rachel, are you going to give us a lead in or are we moving right to Alex?
I can give a quick lead in. So just for background context, in 2020, 2019, Dr. Skio approached the district to purchase the current urgent care building. Between then and March of 2020, agreement was put together to sell that building to him. The terms are noted in the packet here. To fast forward, it was found that there was an error made in the lot line of where the two properties end. We approached Dr. Skio to find some remediation for that lot line. He came back with a list of requests that he would like to do to amend that. And so we've been working on that for the last many months. We thought we had an agreement, which is where the board would be familiar with some of those changes. At the very late notice on Tuesday. He and his attorney sent back a red line version of the agreement, which you now have in front of you. To the audience, if you would like one, there is one on the back counter, where he's requested an additional change. That does not seem to be fitting for us, at which point, is that a good enough lead in for me to toss it over to you?
Sure.
Okay.
So just to go over the main points, a lot of the edits are kind of superficial. So, First Amendment to Purchase Agreement, calling it a settlement agreement, changing the title of buyer to SKIO, stuff like that, that's totally fine. I don't have any issues with it. The issue, even there edits to section 1 under settlement agreement, I don't have an issue. But section 2 and section 6, I want to bring to the board's attention. Section 2 is they're proposing deleting the district's first right of refusal, which means that if they were ever to sell that property, under the existing agreement, the district gets first dibs. So you can say, I want to purchase it, and then you could purchase it before anyone else can put in an offer. So they want to strike that. So whether that's important to you or not, whether you're contemplating purchasing that property or not, that's something to consider. But the second one that I thought was just very unusual, because I've never seen any public agency accept it, is section 6 regarding notice. Now, the way it was drafted is, Dr. Skill will receive at least 7 calendar days written notice of any meeting in which an item regarding a proposed contract between a district and an urgent care facility is agendized. So that was my language that I added per the board's direction. That's more than what the Brown Act requires. Brown Act only requires 3 calendar days. We're giving them 6, and we're giving them specific notice. They added this unusual line that I didn't understand. It said, and shall include SKIO in any meeting in which an urgent care facility contract with the district is on the agenda. I didn't know what that meant. To me, it read like it was just more notice, but I said, it's important that we clarify what that means. So turn it back to you.
So I had a conversation with Dr. Skio yesterday for about an hour to clarify what he meant by that. And he made it incredibly clear that he wishes to be in any conversation, negotiation of any sort that we may have with any other potential urgent care operator. And that he must be part of that conversation with the board.
So to be clear, every member of the public has an opportunity to participate. That's public comment. What I understood from that statement is he wants to be part of the decision-making process. Meaning he's going to be a 6th board member for purposes of this decision to the extent the board wants to consider some contract with an urgent care facility. So again, I leave that to you, the board. It's not illegal. You can totally consider it, but whether you want to or not is going to be up to you. So happy to take any questions on that.
Thank you. Thank you both very much. A little bit without words. For a party to think they should enjoin elected officials in conversations relative to future planning in which they have no right to have influence other than sitting next to Roy there if he wanted to, feels very, it may not be illegal, but it sure is inappropriate. So I don't know how it's hitting you all, but I'm going to invite conversation. Sally, do you have some thoughts?
I mean, what do you think his underlying objective is?
He's made it very, very clear that he feels that should the district engage in any other conversation with any other urgent care, that he would immediately go bankrupt. And so he wants to basically make sure that the district finds someone else to run that operation. He has asked that if we could introduce him to entities who might want to lease that from him. So his goal is to basically make sure that his business is protected from competition.
And Chair, maybe after the discussion or whenever you want, but I could propose some potential options for the board to consider whenever you think it's appropriate.
So keeping that in mind, we're not in the business of protecting private enterprises' interests. Not our job. The two of you, do you have any comments or questions?
I agree with.
No?
Hell no.
HK? Okay. What might be some wording that we may consider, sir?
So, 3 potential options for your consideration. Option 1 is you can accept his terms. Option 2 is you can accept those terms that you find acceptable, approve it that way, and then I recommend putting some kind of time limit on that approval to say, let's assume for a second that the board thinks that that highlighted portion is unacceptable. So to adopt the agreement, striking that line, so to adopt it as amended, and to say he has 30 days to accept that offer, and if he doesn't, then he doesn't. Or alternatively, you can reject the settlement agreement and you can just leave things as they are, which means he would incur his attorney's fees, that we wouldn't pay it. We would continue to use a lot like we're using it now. And there would still be that cloud on title, because it's clear from the record I read that both parties understand that a mistake was made in the legal description that was recorded with the county. So it's not that he gets a windfall because the surveyor made a mistake in the way they wrote the legal description. He doesn't get that windfall. Instead, what's going to happen is there's going to be a cloud on title. He's going to continue to pay more in property taxes. He's going to pay the legal fees that he's already incurred, and he's going to remain in the same position, including that we get the right of first refusal, and there are use restrictions on his property. So that's option 3.
So let's sort through this. There are some minor changes that have been requested, and Alex, as you said, under the settlement, the changes on the first page, you see no harm, no foul, correct?
No, except for 2 is substantive, but that's for you all, if you're okay.
Right, so all the way through the minor things, all the way to number 2 under settlement agreement, that feels settled. Okay, so let's take up this issue of right of first refusal. That would take away our right of first refusal for that building. So let's talk about the value of retaining that right to first refusal. Under what conditions in the future would we want to be able to have right of first refusal? I'm reading you as our in-house expert that, I mean, it's a tough building. It's a tough building. It's not like a shiny ruby.
Well, and with the wellness center property being where programming is held, we don't need more administrative space. I mean, that's part of the reason we leased space to Mission Resource, because we had access. That building wouldn't provide us any service options. It would just incur more costs for maintenance or anything of the sort.
So let me just take like a or an Are we comfortable with accepting their change for number 2, which is we let go of first refusal rights?
Yes.
Okay. All right, and then fire Castillo, no problem with that. Going to the second page here. New item 4, and 4 has a small. Okay, now down to the nitty gritty, number 6, notice. So Alex, let me see if I can say it back to you. I think option 2, you said, would be to accept what we're willing to accept in this agreement that they have offered. Which includes paying his attorney's fees at the amount that he told us. And we take out this line about being included in our conversations. We don't accept that. And then we give him a time limit of 30 days.
Or whatever day you feel is reasonable.
Okay, so that protects, that gets us settled. If he accepts it. And does not include him in the public's business. He can be included as a public member of the public and talk to us. And if he doesn't accept it within 30 days, we remain status quo
Correct.
in terms of what's already in the agreement.
Correct.
Which has this vague veil of ambiguity on the title, right?
Right.
And you don't see that in the future causing us any problems when, in any way, you don't see it as that shadow, you don't see any problem with that.
I don't think so. So like this cloud on title issue, you're continuing to use it the same way you've historically used it. So if you were to change your use of that site that's in dispute, maybe.
Okay.
If you continue to use it, I don't see why it'd be an issue.
And he, on the other hand, will lose his attorney's fees.
Reimbursement of property tax
Reimbursement of property taxes
and the limitations on the property.
and the limitations on the property.
And the limitations are not insubstantial because it runs, if I'm not mistaken, it runs with the land. So if he sells that property, it can only be used for whatever limitation you've all placed on it. So that really limits the value of the land to a potential buyer.
Right?
It's probably the most valuable part of this agreement.
So if we're willing to live with the ambiguity of the title, the option that we just described and discussed fills our needs, protects our interests.
The only wrinkle to that is what brought this all up
That's
was our site logic contract to be able to put in the solar and EV charging. We would probably need to go back to site logic to amend the contract with them and say, we're no longer going to do this component of the project. At this point, site logic has been delayed well over a year trying to do this, so we've been paying additional fees to the county to keep those permits active and such, so yeah, I would be willing to let that go in order to just.
And we'll have just a serviceable parking lot.
Absolutely.
And liability on that parking lot, he has more liability than we do because we monitor the lot. And his section that he owns right now, he doesn't monitor it. He has some liability with that, right?
No, because he doesn't own anything. You own it. Yeah, and it'd be clear if this ever went to a court, it'd be clear that you own it.
Okay, so nothing different than we do now.
We put solar panels on the roof.
That would be a lot more difficult simply because of the roof structure with the flat and the HVAC, so I'm not sure it would be worth the net to do it.
We might let him know that that's what we're thinking about.
I don't think he cares.
Okay, so to go forward and making sure everybody has clarity, we're willing to keep talking about this until everybody's comfortable, because it is a little bit complicated, complex, not complicated. Let me ask, before we do a motion, given option 2, which we just dissected and talked about, are we comfortable with that?
Why don't maybe Alex tell us what that motion would look like?
It would be adopting the agreement as amended, except for the edits to section 6. And making the motion contingent upon acceptance within 30 days.
And a member can say, so moved, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
so nobody
moved.
has to, thank you, Howard. Do we have a second?
Can I just ask,
Let me get a second and then we can continue to discuss.
I'll second.
Thank you for discussion. Proceed.
Given your understanding, are you allowed to give us your recommendation on what you think would be the best move for the district?
It's a political decision, so the decision is yours. It's not so much legal, but I will say. Now, maybe this is a little bit gray area, legal, political. It's, I think, unreasonable for anyone to ask a board to be part of their decision-making process. I've never seen that before. So I mean, when we talked about it, I told her that, I told our CEO that, like, that has to be the line. You've already given, I think, a lot, and then, but there has to be a line, and I thought that was the line, and then when that line was crossed, I said, okay, well, let's see what the board wants to do about it. And sure, I don't know that we've taken public comment on this in case.
I was just gonna say, does that fulfill? Do we have a public comment?
Yes. Just to clarify, if this entire deal falls through, you will be able to continue using the lot the way you've used it legally with no lawsuits or anything else. Is that correct?
Let me answer, Chair.
Please.
No lawsuits, you can't guarantee anything. You could sue us any day. But why? Because if he were to sue, he would lose. That cloud on title would be cleared through the lawsuit that he initiated, and he couldn't recover fees for it. So I don't understand his rationale for bringing a suit, because he wouldn't gain anything.
So my feeling is that at this point, he seems to feel that he has the upper hand, and it's obvious in the way he's written all of these terms. My thought and my suggestion would be, as you are in the direction you're heading in, is to strike that point. But I think in doing so, and when you give him the deadline, I think you need to state that if this is not accepted, we are done, the deal is through, and there is no deal. And I think if that's made clear to him, he will start shaking in his boots a little bit, because like you said, he's got legal fees and all kinds of expenses that he was going to get reimbursed, that now he won't. And I think you need to take that strong position. And I think if you do, you will come out ahead. Just my recommendation.
We love your crystal ball.
Yeah.
And is there first, last, and done language that should be put in here, or is that redundant?
You mean if the settlement agreement is accepted, or?
No, if he says no.
Oh, I mean.
To let him know up front that if this doesn't happen, we're done.
Yeah, I think that can be communicated orally, because your motion says 30 days, so it's 30 days.
Gotcha.
And the only thing I'd add is, I don't know if he feels like he has the upper hand. But I do know, based on my conversations with his attorney, that at least his attorney feels like the district wronged him. And so this is,
Revenge.
it seems like that.
It's revenge. And that's his perception, and yet how many hours did we spend with him and his wife trying to do the history with him? So, yeah. Okay, thank you, Roy, for that. And we have a motion and a second. Any further conversation? All in favor?
Aye.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
We'll get it right.
Very good. All right. F2. Another moving forward item, which I am so glad to see. Consideration of CalPERS Public Employee Medical and Hospital Care Act contract termination resolutions 472 and 473. May I have a motion to approve for purposes of discussion? Thank you. In a second. Do you want to give just a little?
Sure. We talked about this briefly at the last board meeting, the fact that we needed to move out of CalPERS and into SDRMA for the district's employee health benefit program. CalPERS has a very specific process and how you elect to withdraw. These two resolutions are specific to that process. So this just basically allows us a formal board declaration that says we are leaving CalPERS.
Questions, comments? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
F3, consideration of September 3rd, 2025 Finance Committee meeting packet and minutes. Monsieur Treasurer.
We met, Sally and I and staff of the Finance Committee on September 3rd. And let me just note some things primarily about the financials. On our balance sheet, our bank accounts went down $330,634 from the previous month. But it's important for us to all know that since our income is sporadic based upon property tax, we have to take money that we have saved up in our bank accounts to meet expenses. And so that's why that happened. Any questions about that? All right.
That's a cash flow thing that gets taken care of.
That's right. Report number 2 is the profit and loss statement. And in July, we had a total income of $40,804. And we had expenses for our community contracts of $118,000 and 180. These are contracts that we've awarded in the previous year, and so it was fortunate we had that money so that we could do that. Our total payroll for that month was $87,900. Our total expenses for that month were $322,146, and that was, our contracts and our salaries and so on. So in July, we had a net income of a minus $280,685, which over the next several months will get back into the black. Yeah. Want to note the compliance report. Our local agency investment fund, which we fondly called LAIF, had a balance of $405,415, and that comprises 5% of our portfolio. The yield for that quarter was 4.258%, and we had quarterly earnings of $6,691. Any questions, comments about that? Another portion of our portfolio is in Cal Trust, and that actually has 2 different funds, a medium term and a liquidity fund. And in that Cal Trust, we have $6,251,879, which is 77% of our portfolio. In July, we had earnings of $21,510. The 1-year yield on our midterm fund is 4.2%, and our 1-year yield in the liquidity fund is 4.8%, which I just don't understand, but that's what it was. You kind of think that if it was liquid, it would give us less, but it didn't. So the final areas that we have funds is California Class, CLASS, and we have $1,452,164 in that fund, and that's 17.91% of our portfolio. as of July 25th, our earnings for that was $5,338. And the 30-day average yield was 4.34%. The committee also reviewed the checks, the credit card expenses, and found they were all in order. And that is my report.
Thank you very much. Questions, comments from board members?
Have you changed it?
We're on the right side. Okay, thank you, Barry. Next, consideration of the 2025 reserve policy.
We have to accept those minutes.
Oh, it's calling, motion to. Do I need to go back up? We did this,
No, we just have to approve for F3 for the finance.
Okay, a motion to approve, please. A motion. Second. Second. Questions, comments? All in favor, aye? Aye. All opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, then moving on to F4, consideration of 2025 reserve policy. This is a review and renewal of our thinking on our reserve policies, and I imagine Howard is going to waltz us through it.
Well, a bit of it. The reason we want to do this is we want to ensure that if times were tough, that we would have enough money to cover our expenses and to continue our mission, which includes contracts. So we want to make sure that those monies are in a fund, in a reserve, so that we will continue to benefit the community.
So they're sequestered.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Good
we
word.
set them aside and they are there to be called upon, that we don't touch them.
And just for clarification, they live within the investments. They're not a separate outside fund. They live within there, but we would never be able to spend down below those reserves unless there was some contingency that this policy addresses.
Thank you. All right, let's, for purposes of discussion, may I have a motion?
I'll move that we accept that.
Thank you, Howard. A second, please. Second. Thank you, Nana. Okay, questions, concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you very much. Moving on to the reimbursement disclosure policy. Staff recommendation to adopt.
We have had this as an implied policy within our master policy book, but this really was brought forward that we needed to have that codified. So this brings forward this report, or I'm sorry, this policy of how it would be procedurally done, basically the practice of it. And it also allows us to make sure that we stay on target, that it is listed on the district's website as well. Basically, this means that we would need to report to the public anytime the district is reimbursing either staff and or board for anything. This report is provided so that the public can see any monies that are provided to staff or board. We must demonstrate that it is being reimbursed and that report is shown. So anything over $100. So
Excellent.
for example, conference travel fees, or somebody had to go out and purchase something and they didn't have the district credit card and they used personal monies and we're reimbursing them. This just shows that transparency across.
For purposes of discussion, may I have a motion to approve? Sally, second? Thank you.
Annabelle?
Questions, comments, discussion?
Sure.
Sure.
All these laws exist for a reason, and the legislative history usually highlights the reason for it. And I'm looking forward to reading this after the meeting to figure out what district did
What?
what
There you go.
caused the legislator to have adopted this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There was a precursor.
I like the starkness of it in black and white. It makes sense. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Very good. Okay, board member comments. Let's start with that. Any comments from my board colleagues?
I do have a comment. I'd like to thank board and staff for the presence at my grandpa's funeral. I really want to thank you all for that. And my parents are very thankful as well. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you for thanking us. It was so amazing to watch the video of all the pictures. It was,
He has a lot of grandkids.
wow. Yeah, it looked like a great guy. I wish I knew. Okay, thank you so much. Well, I have 3 comments. It's such a pleasure to sign tonight 5 youth fitness grants. I mean, this thing has really it's so great. Thank you, Bill. Somebody email Bill and tell him. Each of these groups gets $5,000. Bonzel Fallbrook Little League, yay Bonzel. Boys and Girls Club of North County, for, I forget what their specific thing.
This is their soccer.
This is for their soccer program.
Soccer.
Mhm.
Good. Fallbrook Band Boosters,
Yes.
fantastic, because marching band is a physical sport, having marched in the band. And then lastly, the Fallbrook Girls Softball program. So we're supporting fitness in a very specific, concrete way, and very proud of that. I had the pleasure of speaking at one of the PEO chapters this week. That is the group of women who help support women by giving scholarships. And it's the Philanthropy Through Education organization. They started in 1865. And our community has multiple chapters because you can't have more than a certain number, because they were thinking when they planned this thing. I can't tell you how hungry they were for information. There were about 15 women there, private home, and they just lapped it up, and they were so excited to hear things. And I was able to hand out the menu for the month of September, and they said, how many times we have no idea. We have no idea. Yeah, well, get the idea out there. Let people know. They were very appreciative. It was a very fun thing to do. And then Howard and I and Teresa and Rachel, we went to the annual conference and up in Monterey, and it was and you were there too, Alex. He even presented. Yeah. But what I wanted to say about it was a larger picture. There were 1,000 CEOs and elected officials there from cemetery districts, mosquito districts, water districts, health districts, hospital districts, community center districts, on and on and on, right? Who knew there was a mosquito district? Okay. My point is, as I went to the sessions and in the hallways, just talking to people, these were common citizens who threw their hat in the ring, got elected, and they're serving with such good intention, free of anything other than the best interests of their community. It was very uplifting. It was a little bit exhausting. I kind of crawled in the bed, but it was very inspiring to see this kind of civic engagement through good governance, and proud to be a part of that. So wanted to just reflect a little bit on it. I know it's so hard to go when you're working and you have other obligations, but if you can next year, I think you'd really enjoy it.
And it'll be in Palm Desert next year in September.
Oh
my.
my.
Very toasty. Yeah, but the hotel rates are down.
And the air conditioning is
And living is easy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, moving into reminders on our various and sundry subsequent meetings relative to our responsibilities. And with that, any other comments for the good of the cause?
just a reminder to everyone that we are dark for the October board meeting.
Okay, hearing no further business, we're adjourning the meeting at 6:54.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Where are you going tonight?
You tell me.
Where should we go for dinner?